The sun and the sea are always good to see. I was going to write a book, and then I thought, why waffle on in words when I could just say it directly to social media? I have concerns as to whether I'm being true to myself. I want to be, but sometimes I'm aware that I kid myself with half-truths, and sometimes I turn a blind eye to my dark side, or make excuses for my bad default actions. I was writing an article on Krishnamurti for Hermes Risen. Hermes Risen is an online magazine that I edit. Do look it up, there's lots of other good writers there as well. Anyway, this article was mainly about our shadow selves and how we deal with them, or not deal with them, as many people ignore or deny their dark side, their shadow, or have been told not to allow it to operate and suppress it. And these types that tell us to suppress it normally are just promoting love and light. But that can be dangerous because the dark side will pop back up, sometimes unexpectedly, usually publicly. Our dark side does like an audience. Now, for years I was concerned about my dark side, my shadow, my negativity, being angry, getting depressed and such like things we all have to deal with. And I used to think that this was distracting me from my work to be a spiritual warrior. I used to think this was the reason why I was having trouble doing work on myself. Having the dark side, maybe I wasn't worthy enough to do this, but we can't all be love and light all the time. Let's say somebody pissed me off, I'd suppress my anger, and then with them I'd have disappointment or whatever I'm feeling, and rather than confront this with kindness and love, I would either stay quiet and mull on it or explode uncontrollably, neither of which is healthy. Instead, I needed to look at the hows and whys and whats of the situation. For example, how did I get into this situation? Why did I let myself be treated like that? What am I doing with this situation? Or how do I see what is happening? Why did I do that? Could I have done it differently? Analysing it, but gently breaking down the situation, following the thread back to the beginning. Am I responsible for my actions, or do I like to blame others? Now, all this takes a lot of pondering, deep research and insight, and usually that involves looking at oneself, which is a tough job to do. Who wants to really analyse their self? Who wants to really analyse why they have become the person they are now? Well, only people who want to change can do this. Only people who want to be a better person. Why do people not want to do this? Because most people do not want to look at themselves, take a good look at themselves. Over the years, I've met many folk who have dabbled on the spiritual path, obviously looking for something, each with their own aim. Many stick to the path, but a few bail early in the process, mainly because they cannot get over the first hurdle of looking at themselves honestly. That honest eye points out our flaws, our negative side, our dark shadow. Now, we've all made mistakes in life, we've all done embarrassing things, we've all made fools of ourselves, done something silly, even stupid things, losing our temper, acting childishly, and the list goes on. Nobody is perfect, yet for many, when we screw up, we ruminate on it, and not in a good way. We lose sleep over it. We rarely get over it and we let it gnaw at us, or we suppress it, or we let it control us. When what we should do is embrace it, accept it, because when we stand before it and recognise it, whether it's a silly thing we've done, or temper lost, or a jealousy reared, or whatever dark side pops up, we need to find out why we fell that way, why we get like that, and whether that's a good or bad thing. There are times we need our dark side, anger at injustices or to defend ourselves, but it can be difficult to differentiate when we should allow that dark side to rear. Really, all this comes back to conscience and listening to it. And as I've said in many of the shows on Gurdjieff that I've made this last year or so, we need to listen to our conscience. Something that people ignore, but spiritual warriors need to listen to. Spiritual warriors need to heed their conscience. Now if we do this kind of work and start accepting that we have a dark side, then when the dark side of us rears its ugly head, we are aware of what's happening, rather than just letting it happen. Because the dark side, when it takes us over, takes us by surprise. And after it's been and gone, we usually ignore it, suppress it, or deny what it's done to us. You know, we all want to think that wasn't us. You know, it'd be nice if no one saw our dark side. You know, we all want to deny it, whether it's an outburst, a depression, or just a total disconnect from oneself. But we need to look at it, question it, and as I said before, we need to look at whether it's beneficial or detrimental for our spiritual development. And remember that the dark side will do everything it can to distract your path, or distract you from your path and from your training to be a spiritual warrior. The dark side will do all types of tricks, including your own inner dark side, making you feel unworthy for this. And when this happens, you need to listen to your conscience and work out if the dark forces are playing you, or that it is your own dark side that is distracting you. So you've got to ponder on your actions, thoughts and reasoning. Ponder on what you want to be, and remember to always live, laugh and love. The 3 L's. Very important. Live, laugh and love. But not with your dark side. Be the light you want to be. Be the warrior you want to be. The spiritual warrior you want to be. Live, love and laughter.